Welcome to Math with Mrs. Cox. We are on Chapter 5, Lesson 2, page 309. We are learning about the importance of estimating sums and differences. Sum is another fancy word for the answer to an addition. Differences is the answer to a subtraction problem. Let's begin. One way to estimate is to use rounding. If you round numbers to a lesser place value, you are likely to get an estimate that's closer to an exact answer, which means they are going to be estimating to try to get a more precise answer in this chapter. Let's begin. Hadassah used a digital thermometer to find the morning temperature and afternoon temperature. She found the morning temperature was 31.1 Fahrenheit and the afternoon temperature was 37.6 Fahrenheit. Estimate the difference in the average temperatures. Okay, there's two different ways we could do this. We're going to talk about this way first and then this way second. Okay, let's begin. One way is round to the nearest 10. So we can round 36.6 to the nearest 10, which it's closer to 40 than it is to 30. So that's rounding to the nearest 10. We can round 31.3 to the nearest 10. 31.3 is closer to 30 than it is to 20 or to 40. So then we can take 40, subtract 30 to give us an answer of 10. Another way is we can round to the nearest 1, a different place value. We can round 36.6 to the nearest 1, which means that's our target, and that's going to round it to 38. We can round 31.1 to the nearest 1, that's our target, that's going to make it stay at 31. So then we can subtract 38 minus 31 to get the answer of 7, which is a more precise answer. So the difference is about 10 Fahrenheit or about 7 Fahrenheit. The actual difference is 6.3 Fahrenheit, so rounding to the nearest 1 gave us a more accurate estimate or a more precise answer. Okay, it's important to pay close attention to instructions with this chapter. Okay, we are on the next page, page 310, example 2. Estimate 5.26 plus 1.93 by rounding to the nearest 1. All right, they've given you some instructions, so this is your target number on both of these. Okay, target number, target number. That number is going to determine what it changes to. So the 2 is going to keep it at a 5. And the 9 is going to bump it up to a 2. So then we can add 5 plus 2 is 7, so the sum is about 7. Round each decimal to the nearest 1, then add or subtract. Okay, it looks like right here we are adding. Let's round it to the nearest 1. That is our target. That's going to determine what happens to it. It's going to be a 3. That is our target. Going to determine what happens to it. It's going to stay a 1. And it is addition, so 3 plus 1 is 4. So 2.8 plus 3, 1.3 is about 4. Round to the nearest 1. Okay, there's our target. And we are subtracting. So that 9 is going to make that 5 bump up to a 6. And that 0 is going to keep that 1 at a 1. So we're going to subtract 6 minus 1 is going to be 5. So the answer is about 5. Okay, follow the instructions. Here it says the nearest 1, but down here, can you notice the difference? To the nearest 10. So make sure you follow these instructions very carefully. All right, number 3. This is the nearest 1 we're talking about, and the nearest 1. So that 0 is going to keep that 10 at a 10. And that 6 is going to bump that 5 up to a 6. Okay, the nearest 1. That's the ones category, the ones place value. Those are going to determine what our target's going to be. 4 is going to keep the 10 at a 10. And the 8 is going to bump that 2 up to a 3. And it's plus. Subtraction and dollar sign. So I'm just going to add a dollar sign right here to my answer just to help me. And it's still the nearest 1. By the way, I need to see that you're drawing target circles around the 1 category, please. All right, that's going to keep it at a 42, and it's a subtraction. And that 9 is going to bump it up to a 6. $36. Number 6. It is an addition problem, and we are still rounding to the nearest 1. Okay, that 2 is going to keep that 5 right where it's at. That 3 is going to keep that 82 right where it's at as well. And it is a plus. All right, we did that first section. It was rounding to the nearest 1. Now pay attention, because now we are rounding to the nearest 10. I can probably write that a little neater. Be a little more precise, right? So the nearest 10, so we are now going to put a target around those numbers right there. This is why I like drawing targets on them. It helps me understand and keep track of what I'm doing. That 3 is going to keep that 2 there, so it's going to be 20. It is a plus sign, and that 0 is going to keep that 1 right there, so it's going to be a 10. So my answer is going to be pretty close to 30. All right, number 11, we are rounding to the nearest 10, and we are subtracting, so that's my target. That's going to be what determines my target's value. That 3 is going to keep that 8 at 80. That 5, however, is going to bump the other 5 up to 60, and it is a subtraction problem. Number 2, same thing, just a different stacking style. We're going to, not do that one. Got to pay attention to my own instructions, folks? There you go. Those are our ones that we are rounding. So that 7 is going to bump that 3 up to a 40, and that 1 is going to keep that 2 for the 20, and it is subtraction. Our answer is 20. Okay, we're rounding the nearest tens. That's going to bump it up to, or keep it at a 30. Then, what is this? What is this that we have? 6. There is no tens value. Oh my goodness, what do we do? Well, let's think about it. Is 6 closer to 10 or to 0? You're right. It is closer to 10, so it will bump up to an even 10. Then we're going to add it. I'm supposed to add that as a 0. Almost made a mistake. So then our answer would be a beautiful 40. Number 14. Again, we're adding the tens category. Place value. That 5 is going to bump that 2 up to be a 30. And that 2, however, is going to keep that at a 10. And it is subtraction. So we have 20. Boy, don't you wish math was like this all the time? I kind of like these. All right, that is all we have for page 311. Please join me on the next page. All right, number 15. The weights of Marissa and Tony's televisions are shown in the table. About how much more does Marissa's television weigh than Tony? So that tells me this is going to be a subtraction problem because Marissa's weighs more. We need to find out how much more. So let's look at Marissa. They want us to round to the nearest 1. So Marissa, the ones category is right there. That 7's going to bump it up to 53. And Tony, the wines category is right there, but that 9 is going to bump it up to a 4. So it's going to be 44. So we are taking 53 minus 44. I have, by my calculation, 9 pounds more. That's a pretty heavy TV. Number 16, Sophia has $20. She buys a hairband for $3.99, gum for $1.29, and a brush for $6.75. Not including tax, estimate how much change she would receive. Show your work. Okay, couple of things. We need to estimate that number, this number, and this number, add them together, and then take 20 and subtract all of that from it to find out how much we have left over. Okay, so $3.99 is really close to $4. Okay, $1.29, if I were to estimate it, $1.29 is closer to $1 than it is to $2. And a hairbrush, $6.75, that's closer to $7 than it is to $6. So there I have 4 plus 1 plus 7, and that's going to equal $12. Then I'm going to take 20 minus 12. It's going to be 8. So she should have about $8 in change. I like to write my dollars like that. About $8. Number 17, Malcolm buys a taco for $1.79 and milk for $1.29. About how much money does he spend? And show your work. Okay, so $1.75 is closer to $2 than it is to $1, but $1.29 is closer to $1 than it is to $2. So 2 plus 1 equals $3. I gotta get the dollar sign in there. He spends about $3. Brain builders. Ooh, here we go. Find the error. Kim wants to estimate 5.494 plus 1.108 by first rounding the nearest hundred. Explain her error and correct it. Then find the estimate. So what Kim did, let's look at it. She took, this is tenths, this is hundredths. So this was supposed to be her target, and that was what was supposed to change it. So it should have been 5.49. And can you see, she just went one place value over and she changed it to 5.50. So that was not a correct estimate of that. So what she should have done was 549. Then the nearest hundred here, this is going to be her target, and that's going to change it. So it'd be 1.1, and then the 0 would change to a 1 because of that 8. So this is the correct problem that she should have added together. 9 plus 1 is 10. 4, 5, 6, 6 should be the correct answer. Number 19, when is estimating an effective tool? List 2 examples. It's effective when you don't need an exact answer or when you need to check to see if your answer is reasonable. So number 1, when you don't need an exact answer, and it's also helpful when you need to check your answer for reasonableness. That's a ridiculously long word. We should use it as a spelling word on a challenge word, right? Whew. Okay, let's check it out. All right, friends, show me that you finished this and then go over to your homework. Thank you.